Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're literally hacking the exact science of building muscle mass. We're going to break down the ideal training methods for athletes, specifically looking at optimal volume and frequency, and, most importantly, your ultimate minimalist plan B for when life inevitably gets in the way. Let's get to it. So to start off, we really need to address a massive frustration for so many of us. You're grinding in the gym every single day, right? You're working harder than ever, but you look in the mirror and realize you're just building up fatigue instead of actual muscle. Well, if your gains have hit a wall, it's rarely a lack of discipline. Seriously, it's usually just a flaw in your strategy. Which brings us to part one, the muscle growth blueprint. It's time to let science debunk some of those old school gym myths. You absolutely need to avoid the trap of junk volume. You know what I mean, when you just keep doing set after set, chasing that crazy burn, but all you're really doing is frying your nervous system without triggering any actual new growth. It's kind of like revving a car in neutral. Lots of noise, zero forward progress. Instead, the science points us straight to effective volume. We're talking just 3 to 5 highly focused, high-quality sets of 6 to 12 reps per exercise. That is where the magic actually happens. All right, part two, optimal volume and frequency. Let's map out the exact scientific parameters you need to hit every single week to maximize that muscle mass. So here's the golden rule for volume. The research reveals this really clear dose-response relationship. The ideal weekly volume sits right between 12 and 20 hard sets per muscle group. Now, if you're a beginner, stay down near that 12 mark. But here's the fascinating part. The more experienced you become, the more resistant your muscles are to growth. That means you might actually need to push closer to that 20-plus mark to force an adaptation. But remember, we are talking about brutal, high-quality sets here, not that junk volume we just talked about. But how do you actually divide up those 15 or 20 sets? Well, whatever you do, don't do them all on International Chest Day every Monday. The latest systematic reviews prove that hitting a muscle group across a frequency of 3 days a week yields the absolute greatest hypertrophic adaptations. Why? Because spreading the volume out keeps your muscle protein synthesis elevated throughout the entire week. You're basically giving your body this constant, steady signal to grow rather than one massive, exhausting signal followed by 6 days of absolutely nothing. You might be wondering, though, how close to the absolute limit should you push during those specific sets? Well, the sweet spot for maximum growth is leaving 0 to 2 reps in reserve. That basically means you stop the set when you physically could only grind out maybe 1 or 2 more reps. Training to absolute failure might look cool, but it spikes your central nervous system fatigue off the charts. Leaving just 1 rep in the tank gives you the exact same muscle growth impact, but completely saves you from that dreaded burnout. Now, to tie this perfect set together, you really need to rest 2 to 3 minutes between sets. I know, staring at the gym wall for 3 minutes feels like a total eternity, but it's absolutely required to let your muscles recover enough to handle the next heavy load. And hey, when you are actually lifting, use that internal focus, the mind-muscle connection. Don't just heave the weight from point A to point B, right? Actively visualize the target fibers contracting through the full range of motion. Moving on to part 3, the power of progressive overload. Lifting the perfect weight today is great and all, but let's talk about how we force the body to keep adapting tomorrow. There are actually 5 distinct pathways of progressive overload. Because let's face it, without a new stimulus, your body has literally 0 reason to build more tissue. You can increase the load by adding weight, add more volume through extra sets, up the frequency, increase the density by cutting down your rest times, or increase the time under tension, like agonizingly slowing down the lowering phase of the lift. Now, here is a massive breakthrough from recent 2024 data. Adding weight and adding repetitions are equally effective for hypertrophy. They both hit a 100% effectiveness mark in the lab. This is a total game changer because it gives you so much flexibility. If your joints are screaming at you from lifting heavier weights, just stop ego lifting. Add a rep or 2 with a lighter weight instead. Your muscles literally cannot tell the difference. Which brings us to part 4, nutrition for muscle accretion. You could have the absolute perfect training plan, but if you don't fuel the machine, absolutely nothing is going to grow. This systematic reviews hand us 4 strict nutritional non-negotiables. First, you need a daily energy surplus of about 500 calories. Second, high leucine whey protein to really spark that muscle protein synthesis. Third, omega-3 fatty acids, which actually help boost protein accretion. And finally, and honestly, so many people miss this, taking in protein right before sleep has been shown to significantly amplify your muscle and strength gains over time. All right, part 5, the minimal effective dose. Let's pivot back to reality for a second and build your plan B for when chaos strikes. Basically, you need to build a system of anti-fragility. What this means is your fitness routine shouldn't shatter into a million pieces the minute your work schedule gets crazy. If your workout demands a perfectly balanced, stress-free life to actually work, well, the plan is the problem, not your discipline. Anti-fragility is all about adapting and actually becoming better through small, highly strategic doses of stress when things get incredibly tough. And here is the best news you're going to hear all day. Science proves that maintaining the muscle you already have is infinitely easier than building it in the first place. When chaos hits, a minimal effective dose of just 1 to 2 hard sets can keep you right on track. So please don't skip the gym just because you only have 30 minutes. Run in, do 2 absolutely brutal sets of a compound movement, and go home victorious. If you only have, say, 45 minutes, you gotta strip away the fluff. You really don't need a dozen different cable isolation exercises. Just anchor your routine to the big patterns: a squat, a deadlift, a vertical pull like a pull-up, your core work, and a horizontal push. The bench press, for example, is absolute gold for minimalists because it's highly measurable and it drives massive upper body progression with very little actual volume. And to support this, you need a chaos nutrition strategy. On a highly stressful Thursday night, trying to cook a pristine 5-ingredient organic meal might just spike your cortisol even higher. Give yourself permission to use low-friction meals. Microwavable rice cups, canned tuna, maybe a quick wrap. In these survival moments, keeping your nervous system calm and your stress low is mathematically way more beneficial than eating the perfect aesthetic meal. Ultimately, progress does not come from some rigid, punishing routine that breaks your spirit the second you fall off track. Real, lifelong muscle growth comes from intelligently applying the right dose of stress. That might mean 20 flawless sets during a great week, or just 2 gritty sets during a really chaotic one. It's all about doing what you can, exactly when you can. So, I want to leave you with this question to analyze your own life right now. Are you demanding perfect conditions to see gains, or are you ready to become anti-fragile? Master the science of optimal volume and frequency when times are good, but always keep that minimalist plan B in your back pocket. Build a routine that life simply cannot break. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep growing.